You've been spending too much time scrolling, watching, comparing, measuring your progress against somebody else's highlight reel. And it's eating away at your destiny. Let me tell you something. The reason you feel stuck is not because you're not capable. It's because you're distracting. You've taken your eyes off your assignment and placed them on someone else's results. But God didn't call you to be a spectator. He called you to be a steward of your own gifts, your own time, your own life. You want to know the real secret to success. It's not watching others win, it's watching yourself grow. Because what you focus on expands. What you nurture multiplies. You keep watering other people's gardens with your attention, and your own life is drying up. It's time to focus on yourself. Not out of selfishness, but out of stewardship, out of purpose, out of obedience. You were created for greatness. But here's the truth, you can't walk into that greatness while dragging the weight of comparison. That's the enemy's trick to get you so consumed with someone else's success that you forget your own strategy. You're not behind. You're distracted. And the moment you bring your eyes back to your own lane, you'll start moving again. Don't you know you've got something inside of you that nobody else can replicate? You've got a calling, a gift, a mission that was custom designed for you. So why spend another minute watching someone else build their dream when yours is waiting on you? Mastery starts within. You're trying to win in public while losing in private. You want the results, but you haven't done the refining. You want the breakthrough, but you keep avoiding the process. Focus isn't about working harder, it's about aligning your attention with your assignment. You don't need another strategy. You need clarity. You need to remember why you started. You need to reconnect with the fire that got you moving in the first place. And you need to cut the distractions. Some of you are one focus year away from everything you prayed for, but you keep giving your focus away in 10-second clips. Let me give you a truth that'll change your life. God doesn't bless comparison. He blesses commitment. He doesn't bless imitation. He blesses intention. Stop trying to be the next version of someone else and start becoming the best version of who He made you to be. There's no power in pretending. There's power in showing up with your whole heart and saying, this is what I've got, and I'm going to multiply it. That's what the parable of the talents was all about. God's not asking you to match someone else's results. He's asking you to multiply what He gave you. That's success. Every second you waste watching others is a seed you could have sown into your own future. And seeds don't grow without attention. Success doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of focused obedience, relentless consistency, and a mind that refuses to quit. So if you want to change your life, change your focus. Stop watching. Start building. Stop measuring. Start moving. It's your time, and your results are waiting on your resolve. Your blessing is in your ability to look straight ahead and keep going even when it feels slow, even when it feels quiet, even when no one's clapping. Because when you focus on yourself, success becomes inevitable. Not someday, not maybe, but definitely. If you don't quit, you will win. So focus and watch God move. One of the greatest tragedies in life is not failure. It's living your whole life trying to be someone else and never discovering who you were created to be. Let me tell you the truth, comparison is a thief. And not just a thief. It is the kind of thief that doesn't break in loudly, it sneaks in quietly, silently. While you're watching, scrolling, admiring, envying, it steals something more valuable than money, more precious than status. It steals your purpose. God gave you a calling, a unique assignment, a fingerprint that matches no one else's. But you keep looking sideways. You keep asking, why am I not where they are? Why is their business growing faster? Why did they get that opportunity, that relationship, that platform? And what you don't realize is that every time you do that, you're stepping out of your lane and abandoning your mission. Your eyes weren't designed to watch their path. They were built to lock in on your destiny. Comparison is deceptive. It looks innocent. It feels harmless. But underneath, it breeds jealousy, insecurity, and doubt. And those are the very ingredients that kill purpose. When you focus on others, you forget what God put in you. You forget that your timeline is not their timeline. Your gifts are not their gifts. Your calling is not their calling. and your results are not supposed to be identical. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, not mass-produced. You think you're falling behind? No, you're just misaligned. You've been running someone else's race, and no wonder you're exhausted. No wonder you feel like you're not enough. You've been trying to win a battle you were never called to fight. Let me ask you this. How many years are you willing to waste trying to be a duplicate when God created you to be a divine original? You will never be the best version of someone else, but you can be an unmatched version of yourself. There are doors that only your name can open, platforms that only your voice can fill, people that only your story can impact. But as long as you're distracted by what they are doing, you'll miss what God is trying to do through you. Comparison delays destiny. It puts you in a cycle where you're always looking, never building, always measuring, never moving, always consuming, but never creating. And let me tell you, your purpose can't grow in the soil of distraction. It requires focus, discipline, obedience. You can't multiply what you refuse to acknowledge. You've been given something great, but comparison has made you blind to it. God didn't make a mistake with you. He gave you exactly what you need to fulfill the life he's called you to live. Stop despising your gift just because it doesn't look like theirs. The oil on your life flows best when you walk in authenticity, not imitation. And when you finally decide to own your lane, that's when favor starts to follow. That's when doors start opening. That's when clarity shows up. Because God doesn't bless envy, he blesses stewardship. He's not obligated to finance your fantasy of being someone else, but he will fund your faith when you walk in your assignment. So today I challenge you, cut the comparisons, kill the envy, drop the jealousy, pick your head up and fix your focus. Start sowing into your garden, start speaking life over your calling. Start showing up for your destiny. Because what you feed grows, and it's time to stop feeding distractions and start feeding purpose. Let them run their race. Let them win their battles. Let them build their platforms. That's not your business. Your business is obedience. Your business is purpose. Your business is showing up every day and maximizing what God placed in your hands. And when you do that, you'll stop feeling behind because you'll realize you were never behind. You were just misfocused. The moment you reclaim your attention, you reclaim your power. The moment you stop looking at others and start looking inward, you'll discover what's been there all along, a purpose so powerful. It can't be stolen, only surrendered. So stop giving it away. Take it back, walk in it, live in it. And watch God bless it beyond what you could ask or imagine. Everybody wants victory. Everybody wants success. But very few people are willing to go to the battlefield where the real war is being fought inside of them. Let me tell you this plainly. The greatest enemy to your destiny is not the economy. It's not your upbringing. It's not even the people who walked away. The greatest enemy to your purpose is the version of you that you refuse to confront. You keep trying to win on the outside, but you're losing on the inside. You want to build wealth, but you can't control your spending. You want relationships, but you can't control your temper. You want purpose, but your habits scream comfort. Let me remind you of this eternal truth. External victory will never outrun internal chaos. Until you learn to rule your own spirit, you will never rule in life. A person without self-control is like a city with broken down walls. That means without mastery over your emotions, your thoughts, and your daily choices, you're vulnerable. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how good your idea is. If you can't master you, you'll self-destruct the moment you get blessed. You've been asking God to change your situation, but he's trying to change you. Because if he gives you the blessing before you're built to handle it, that blessing will become a burden. What good is more money if you still have a poverty mindset? What good is influence if you still crave validation? What good is promotion if you still can't handle correction? The truth is we want the fruit, but we avoid the root work. We want success, but we skip submission. We want abundance, but we resist accountability. Master your habits. Master your thoughts. Master your reactions. Because victory is not a performance, it's a product of preparation. Private mastery creates public momentum. Success is not magic, it's management. You don't need more motivation. You need more maturity. You need to train your spirit to respond instead of react. You need to discipline your mind to focus when it wants to wander. You need to teach your body to serve your vision, not sabotage it. Because when your internal world aligns with God's principles, your external world begins to reflect his promises. The kingdom of God is within you. That means breakthrough doesn't come from outside, it begins on the inside. And when you tap into that divine strength, that inner authority, the God-given discipline, you start walking like a champion long before the world calls you one. Your habits matter. Every small decision is a seed. And you don't harvest what you want, you harvest what you plant. So stop saying you want a different life while living the same patterns. Excellence doesn't show up by accident. It's a result of daily alignment. Wake up early. Speak life over yourself. Cut off distractions. Fast from negativity. Train your mind like your future depends on it, because it does. And here's the good news, you don't have to do this alone. God has already given you the spirit of power, love, and self-discipline. You just have to access it. The strength is already in you, but strength that's not exercised stays dormant. Victory that's not pursued remains distant. If you want to live in power, you have to practice power. So stop praying for a life you're not preparing for. Start becoming the person that your dream needs you to be. Stop looking for shortcuts and start building spiritual stamina. You don't need perfect conditions, you need perfected discipline. Because once you conquer the internal battlefield, every external mountain starts to move. You want to change your world, change your habits. You want to shift your life, shift your mindset. You want to rise above, rise within. That's where true victory is born, not in applause, not in status, not in possessions, but in the quiet, disciplined decisions you make when no one is watching. So today, make the decision, wage war on your excuses, take dominion over your distractions, train your soul, tame your tongue, master your emotions. Because when you master what's within, God will multiply what's around. And that, my friend, is the true path to unshakable, undeniable kingdom-level success. Let me tell you something that'll shake you out of the shadows. God doesn't bless imitation. He blesses intention. He doesn't reward the fake version of you that you post online. He doesn't pour favor on the mask you wear to please people. He doesn't anoint your performance. He anoints your purpose. Too many people are out here chasing somebody else's calling, walking in somebody else's shoes, speaking in somebody else's voice, and wondering why the blessing hasn't shown up yet. Listen closely, God won't finance a life he didn't design. You keep copying, but heaven doesn't respond to clones. Heaven responds to authenticity. God can't bless who you're pretending to be. He can only bless who you really are. When God formed you in your mother's womb, he didn't make a mistake. He didn't say, oops, I wish they were more like him, or I wish she looked more like her. No, he said, this one is fearfully and wonderfully made. He knit you together with a specific plan, a custom purpose, and a divine fingerprint. You are an original crafted by the master himself, and every attempt to imitate someone else is an insult to the masterpiece God already made in you. You think if you sound like them, dress like them, post like them, God will finally elevate you? No, because elevation doesn't come through imitation, it comes through alignment. When your life aligns with your God-given identity, doors open that no man can shut. But when you try to step into someone else's assignment, it'll feel like you're pushing a boulder uphill with no power. Let me give you a kingdom principle. God responds to intention. When your heart is pure, when your actions match your calling, when your motives are rooted in service, not status, that's when favor flows. When you chase validation, when you crave approval more than anointing, when you mimic someone else's method and ignore your own mantle, you forfeit the power that's tied to your own name. You will never be graced to carry someone else's calling, but you will always be empowered to walk boldly in your own. See, imitation looks easy. It's fake, it's familiar. But it's also powerless. Because when you imitate, you lose the oil. You lose the anointing. You trade divine authority for human applause. But when you step into who you really are, flaws and all God breathes on that. Because that's where the intention is. That's where your power is. That's where breakthrough lies. Some of you have spent your whole life trying to be acceptable instead of authentic. You hide your true voice. You minimize your true story. You silence your uniqueness to fit into a box God never designed for you. And that's why you're frustrated. Because your spirit knows it was made for more, but your habits keep dragging you toward imitation. It's time to break that. You don't need to copy anyone to be valuable. You don't need to mimic greatness to be great. You don't need to be loud or shinny or flashier to be seen by God. You just need to show up as the person He created whole, real, and on purpose. Let me be clear, your blessing is tied to your authentic self, your real voice, your raw testimony, your actual struggles. That's what God uses to bring people out. That's what He uses to shift atmospheres. That's what He anoints. The version of you that is honest, surrendered, bold, unapologetic about walking in your truth. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out. And your favor is hiding behind your authenticity. So stop shrinking. Stop filtering. Stop copying. Start owning your identity. Start showing up with your full self. Because when you walk in who you really are, God walks with you. When you stop pretending and start pursuing purpose with clear intention, heaven starts moving on your behalf. So today, break free, get off the performance stage, throw away the imitation script, and walk fully, boldly, and intentionally into the life you were born to live. Because God doesn't bless who you're trying to be, He blesses who He made you to be. Let me give you a kingdom truth that will change the way you move. Your time is a seed, not a waste. Every second of your life is either being invested or squandered. It's never neutral. You are either planting toward your purpose or watching someone else harvest theirs. And here's the cold truth: you don't get blessed for watching, you get blessed for working. Too many people are caught in the trap of consumption. You scroll, you spectate, you admire, you envy, you compare. And while you're watching somebody else water their garden, your soil is drying up. You've got dreams dying in the ground because you were too busy clapping for somebody else's harvest while ignoring your own seed. You better hear me. God did not give you time to waste it watching. He gave you time to build, plant, grow, and multiply. You're praying for a harvest, but you've stopped sowing. You're asking God to bless you, but you're giving your best energy to someone else's vision. And it's not because you don't have potential. It's because you've forgotten that time is a tool, not a toy. If you sow distraction, you reap delay. If you sow jealousy, you reap discontent. If you sow procrastination, you reap poverty. But if you sow focus, discipline, faith, and action, you reap favor, breakthrough, and abundance. Your time is your greatest currency. It's more valuable than money because money lost can be regained. But time wasted, that's a harvest you'll never see. And some of you are broken your purpose, not because God hasn't blessed you, but because you keep spending your time like it's cheap. Watching TikToks, clicking likes, chasing trends, being entertained. But you forgot entertainment doesn't build empires. Engagement does. See, every day you wake up, you've got 86,400 seconds deposited into your life account. The question is, are you going to spend it watching others live, or are you going to use it to create the life God called you to live? Every moment you give away to distraction is a moment you rob from your own from. You don't need more time. You need more intention. Time is not just passing, it's planting. Every phone call, every thought, every habit, every action, it's a seed. And the soil doesn't lie. If you don't like your life, check your schedule. If you don't like your results, check your routine. Because time doesn't betray you, it reveals you. It exposes what you value. It shows what you're building or what you're ignoring. Let me ask you, what are you growing with your time? What have you sown this week that moves you closer to your calling? What disciplines have you planted? What wisdom have you watered? What vision have you nurtured? Or have you spent another week clapping for somebody else's fruit while ignoring your own roots? God is calling you out of spectator mode and into builder mode. He didn't give you breath to waste it on watching. He gave you breath to create, to multiply, to steward, to expand. And you've got everything you need to start. You just need to stop waiting for perfect conditions and start planning now. There is no success without sowing. There is no breakthrough without building. And there is no legacy without labor. But your seed won't grow if you keep leaving it in the bag while you watch others tend their field. Stop looking at their progress. It's time to water your purpose. So today, shift your focus. Turn off the noise. Reclaim your time. Get back to your vision. Speak life over your soil. Set fire to your habits. Because your future is not waiting for you to be inspired. It's waiting for you to get to work. Your blessing is not on pause. It's waiting on your participation. Remember, your time is a seed. Sow wisely. Water it daily. Protect it fiercely. And trust God to multiply it abundantly. Because when you honor your time, heaven honors your effort. And that's when the harvest comes, not by watching, but by working. Not by copying, but by committing. Not by waiting, but by planting with purpose. Let me break something down for you. Focus is not just a discipline, it's a force. Focus is spiritual. Focus is power. And if you don't learn to harness it, your destiny will keep running ahead of you while you're distracted by things that don't matter. Hear me, focus creates acceleration. What do you focus on? Multi-growth. You discipline your purpose, the faster your success comes. God did not design you to chase everything. He designed you to master one thing at a time. But we live in a culture that celebrates multitasking, that glorifies distraction, that applauds being busy. And yet, most of the people who stay busy never build anything. They run hard, but they don't run deep. They chase 100 things and catch nothing. Why? Because divided focus is defeated focus. You weren't created to fragment your energy. You were created to channel it. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. That means if your mind is everywhere, your progress will be nowhere. If your attention is scattered, your life will be stalled. But when you fix your focus, you start to gain speed. Clarity creates momentum. Let me give you a kingdom principle. Whatever you focus on, you give life to. Focus is a seed. Focus is fuel. If you focus on fear, it multiplies. If you focus on failure, it expands. But if you focus on faith, discipline, growth, and vision, they begin to accelerate in your life. The power was never in your environment. It was always in your attention. You say you want success. You say you want to build something that lasts. You say you're called to make an impact. But here's the test. Can you focus long enough to finish what you start? Can you ignore the noise, shut out the opinions, cut off the distractions, and stay locked in on what God told you to do? Because here's the truth. God doesn't bless scattered seeds. He blesses targeted obedience. The people who see results are not always the most talented. They're just the most focused. They stay planted. They stay consistent. They don't hop from vision to vision or goal to goal every time it gets hard. They lock in until acceleration kicks in. It's not that their path was easier. It's that their eyes were fixed. Acceleration doesn't come to the impatient. It comes to the focused. The ones who understand that what you magnify manifests. If you keep looking at your obstacles, they'll get bigger. If you keep focusing on your limits, they'll seem heavier. But if you lock your focus on the vision, the goal, the promise of God, you'll start moving faster than you ever imagined. What you focus on multiplies. You want to grow faster, focus deeper. You want to multiply your impact, narrow your vision. Stop trying to do everything, be everything, prove everything. Pick the one thing that God put in your heart and give it your full weight. Give it your full fire. Because once you give it your full focus, you'll start seeing supernatural speed. There are miracles waiting behind your mastery. There's favor waiting behind your focus. But God won't give you increase until he sees intention. He's not going to accelerate what you haven't committed to. He's not going to bless what you're still dabbling in. When you give him your whole focus, he gives you his full blessing. So today, make the shift. Drop the distractions. Shut down the scrolling. Silence the noise. The world doesn't need you to be everywhere. It needs you to be effective somewhere. And your effectiveness increases with every layer of distraction you cut off. You don't need more motivation. You need mastery through focus. You don't need more followers. You need more discipline. Because focus is not just how you get started, it's how you go further, faster. And once you lock in, the heavens begin to move, doors begin to open. And what used to take years begins to happen in months. So don't just pray for acceleration, focus for it. Because when you focus on your growth, God accelerates your results. That's kingdom. That's power. That's the secret to moving fast, strong, and in divine alignment. So here's the bottom line. Your future is waiting on your focus. The speed of your success is not determined by your hustle, but by your clarity. The anointing flows when the distractions go. If you want to go further, you've got to go deeper. Stop chasing everything and start mastering something. God is not asking you to be everywhere. He's asking you to be effective right where you are. The moment you focus, favor starts to flow. The moment you lock in, doors start to open. The moment you tune out the noise, you tune into power. Because focus isn't just a productivity hack, it's a spiritual principle. What you focus on multiplies. And when you focus on your growth, your discipline, your calling, acceleration becomes inevitable. So today, draw the line. Cut the fluff, kill the distractions. Fix your eyes on what matters. Because the more you focus, the faster you rise. And when God sees your focus, he releases your future.